YouTube channel Biologically Frolic by Aishwarya. Recently we completed class 12 chapter 2, chapter number 1, reproduction in organism. We also completed class 11 chapter number 1, living world. If you want to see my previous videos, you can go to my previous videos. The description of the video is given in the description box. Now let's come back to the class 11 chapter number 2, biological classification. So I'll tell you one story. Many years back, there were scientists who were struggling a lot to categorize the organisms. So there was one scientist, Aristotle, named Aristotle. So what he did is, he just categorized the organisms in very systematic and scientific way. So what he did was, he categorized organisms into two groups, plants and animals. The plants were categorized as herbs, shrubs and trees, and animals as two groups, that is, the animals who are having red blood and those who are not having red bloods. So this type of classification was lasting for many years. After some time, what happened was, there was a problem which was arising with this type of classification. What was the problem then? Bacteria, microorganisms. Where should they go? Are they plants? No. Are they animals? No. Then what to do now? Then came the scientist called as R.H. Whitaker. He proposed the 5 kingdom classification. So these 5 kingdoms were Monera, Protista, Mycota, Plantae and Animalia. So kingdom Mycota included all types of bacteria. Protista included all the eukaryotic unicellular organisms like amoeba, protista, paramecium, etc. Then Mycota kingdom included all types of fungi. Next, the Plantae included all types of plants, and Animalia included all types of animals. So this type of classification was very systematic, very scientific, and this lasted for many years. Till now we are using this type of classification. So what made R.H. Whitaker to categorize the organisms into different categories or different kingdoms? The first problem was bacteria. Then all the microorganisms were included under plant kingdom. Why? Just because they have cell wall in it. The problem was, bacteria and all the other organisms are not same. Bacteria is prokaryote and other organisms are eukaryote. How can they be together? So that was the first problem. Second problem, one more example I would like to tell you. Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra were included under the one kingdom Plantae. The problem is, Chlamydomonas is unicellular, then Spirogyra is multicellular. Then what's the problem is, the unicellular and multicellular organisms were included under one single group. So that made R.H. Whitaker to categorize the organisms into different very systematic groups. So each and every group and each and every kingdom is studied, and it is kept so systematically that it is very easy for us to study this kingdom. Okay, so let's study each kingdom one by one. So first kingdom is Monera. The Monera kingdom includes all types of bacteria. What is bacteria? It is a prokaryotic unicellular organism which is microscopic in nature and you cannot see it with your naked eyes. Okay, so bacteria are the only member of kingdom Monera. So where do bacteria live then? Well, they are almost everywhere in nature. One handful of soil includes the enormous number of bacteria that you cannot even imagine. They live almost everywhere. They are in your palms, they are in your floor, they are on your house, everywhere in nature. So bacteria are the sole members of this family. Now let's come to the shapes of bacteria. What are the shapes of bacteria? So based on the shape of bacteria, it is divided into 4 categories. First one is cocci-shaped bacteria. Cocci-shaped bacteria are the cellular bacteria, spherical bacteria which are round in shape. Next is the spirillum bacteria. Spirillums are the spiral-shaped bacteria. Next come vibrio-shaped. Vibrio-shapes are the comma-shaped bacteria, and last one includes rod-shaped. We call it as bacillus-shaped. Okay, so bacillus are the rod-shaped bacteria. So these are the 4 shapes of bacteria. The shape of bacteria is very simple, but if you go to ultrastructure of bacteria, it is quite complex in nature. Friends, I will tell you ultrastructure of bacteria is the most important question in the chapter. You can get the question like draw the ultrastructure of bacteria. You may get this for sure. So let us study the ultrastructure of bacteria. Why I have drawn the picture and I am showing you means instead of showing you the picture of the online picture of the bacteria, it would be easy if I just draw it and explain you each and every part very systematically. So let's come to the ultrastructure of bacteria. First one is the capsule. Capsule is the outer layer of bacteria in which the pili and flagella are attached. Next is cell wall. So cell wall is one such layer which protects the which protects the bacteria from the outer environment. Next comes the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the one which protects the internal cytoplasm and internal organelles of the bacteria. Next, let's come to the DNA. There are 2 types of DNA, friends, chromosomal DNA and plasmid DNA. So chromosomal DNA is the condensed form of DNA, whereas the plasmid DNA is circular DNA. Okay, so these are the 2 types of DNAs which are present. Next comes the food granule. Food granule is the one which stores the food in bacteria. Next, ribosome. As you know, ribosome is called as the protein factory of the cell. So ribosomes are for the protein synthesis for the bacteria. Next comes the cytosol. Cytosol is just like cytoplasm, which protects the internal organelles. Not actually protection, but in cytoplasm or in cytosol, this all the bacteria, the organelles will float. Okay. Next comes the pili. So these pili are the mode of sexual reproduction in the bacteria. So how the sexual reproduction takes place means this is one bacteria, one more such bacteria will be there, they come together and these pili will fuse together and they form the conjugation bridge. So through this conjugation bridge, the DNA will be transferred from one cell to another cell, one bacteria to another bacteria. So this is the mode of sexual reproduction in the bacteria. Next is flagellus. Flagellus are the I can say the mode of movements in the bacteria. Flagellus will help for movements. Okay, so it will take bacteria from one place to another place with the help of flagella. So this is the ultrastructure of bacteria. It includes cell wall, capsule, plasma membrane, flagella, pili, food granule, plasmid DNA, chromosomal DNA, ribosome and cytosol. Remember the labelings. Labelings are very important in the question of ultrastructure of bacteria. If you just label 8 to 10 labelings is enough for you. So this is the ultrastructure of bacteria. So let's study about some different types of bacteria. One among them is archaebacteria. Have you heard of archaeology? What is archaeology? It is the study of the ancient times. It is the study of ancient people. Then what could be the archaebacteria? The name suggests, the name itself tells you that archaebacteria, the bacteria which is living from the ancient times. Okay, so thus bacteria are called as archaebacteria. These are so special types of bacteria. They are living from many years and they are adapted so well that they can live in any type of extreme conditions. So the bacteria which live in such extreme conditions are called as extremophiles. One example I'll give you. The bacteria which lives in so salty area or salty areas are called as halophiles. Another example is the bacteria which lives in very high temperature. They are called as thermophiles. The bacteria which lives in some marshy areas are called as methanogens. Methanogens are one such special bacteria which are present in cow dung, and from this cow dung the methane gas is produced. and we also call it as gobar gas. So gobar gas is produced from methanogens bacteria. Okay, so these are the special types of bacteria which we call it as archaebacteria. Archaebacteria are the one who are present from ancient times. Okay, and they are adapted to live in very extreme conditions. So another type of bacteria is eubacteria. Eubacteria is nothing but true type of bacteria, which is, we also call it as true bacteria. So one example of true bacteria, there are so many examples actually in eubacteria. One such example is cyanobacteria. We also call it as blue-green algae. What is the speciality of cyanobacteria then? This is autotrophic bacteria. So autotrophic means what? It creates its own food. Okay, so in this type of bacteria, we also call it as blue-green algae, chlorophyll is present. So because of chlorophyll, it produces its own food. Okay, so this is the speciality of cyanobacteria. Now let us study a little bit more about this cyanobacteria. First characteristics of cyanobacteria is it is having chlorophyll. Next is it is having gelatinous sheath around the I can say the cell. And one more speciality of cyanobacteria is they are present in groups. They are filamentous bacteria. They do not live separately. They live in one specialized colony and they are present in filamentous form. Okay, and there are some other bacteria, the group of cyanobacteria, which also produce nitrogen. Okay, so such bacteria I can give example as Nostoc. In Nostoc, there is one specialized cell called as heterocyst in which nitrogen is produced. So this is the speciality of cyanobacteria. We learnt about autotrophs, the bacteria which produces its own food. There is one more group of bacteria, eubacteria, also called as heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are the bacteria which do not synthesize their own food. That is, they depend on some other organisms for the food. Okay, one such example is decomposers. Yes. Decomposers are very important part of our life. How? Decomposers are the one who decomposes the decaying matter. They decomposes the dead bodies. They decomposes the dry leaves. They decomposes the garbage. Imagine the world without these decomposers. Everything would be on the land which would not decompose, which would stay on the land for many years. So what would be the fate of our earth? So thanks to these decomposers who eat literally these dead bodies, this dead decaying matter, and they keep our earth healthy. Okay, so these are the decomposers. One more type of bacteria is one such bacteria which produces curd from the milk. Okay, we call it as lactobacillus. There is one more type of bacteria which produces the acid. We call it as acidophiles. Okay, they live in literally acidic conditions. Okay, so there are so many types of heterobacteria. Okay, we learned about heterobacteria. We also learned about autotrophic bacteria. Then what is the disadvantage? We will first talk about the advantages of bacteria. What is the advantage of bacteria? Why we need bacteria? Well, I told you there are so many advantages of bacteria. The curd is prepared from milk with the help of bacteria. They literally fix atmospheric nitrogen in leguminous plants. Okay, nitrogen fixing bacteria, decomposes. So these all are the advantages of bacteria. If there are advantages, there should also be some disadvantages of bacteria, right? So there are also some disadvantages of bacteria. One such disadvantage is they cause diseases in human beings as well as in plants. In human beings, they cause the disease like typhoid. Do you know which organism causes typhoid? If you know the answer, please give the answer in your comment section. Okay, so this typhoid is the one which causes the typhoid is caused in human beings. Next, tetanus. Tetanus is also one such disease which is caused by bacteria. Cholera is also one such disease which is caused by bacteria. So this happened in human beings. What about plants? In plants also bacteria causes some diseases. One such disease is called as citrus canker. One more disease is called as crown gall diseases. So this citrus canker, ground gall disease are the diseases which occurred in plant. So this was the whole world of bacteria. Now in my next session, in my next video, I will be giving the whole description of Protista, Mycota, Plantae and Animalia. So till then, namaskar. Today's fun fact is about mycoplasmas. Have you heard of mycoplasma? Mycoplasma is the smallest living cell in this whole universe. So mycoplasmas come under the group of bacteria. They do not have cell wall. They do not have anything that bacteria has. But too, it is grouped under bacteria. Why? Because they have everything except for cell wall. So these are the smallest creatures, smallest living cells in the universe. Okay, so this is the today's fun fact. If you have not subscribed yet, if you have not liked my video, please do subscribe. Please do like, share and comment. Thank you.